and their possessions than they are people. But I need to remind us this is the Lord's house. I need to remind us if we got vans and buses, they belong to the Lord. As a matter of fact, Psalms 24:1 says, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and all they that dwell therein. Jesus then moves and say, well, the person who have found their property, will they not call their friends and neighbors, asking them to rejoice and say, I found my sheep? Then in verse number 8, Jesus now addresses one of the customs of marriage in that day. And he said, or which woman having 10 pieces of silver? 10 is the number of redemption. What Jesus is speaking of here, he is speaking of the wedding garment that once a woman was eligible for marriage under the permission of her father. Watch now. In the Jewish custom, her father would give her a dowry, and she would take that dowry and she would put those coins around her head. Watch. But if the woman lost one of the coins, there was no gift for the father-in-law to give to the man that was taking his daughter, which would make her ineligible for marriage. Talk to us, Fitzgerald. Because Jesus says the woman who loses one coin, will she not sweep that house until she finds it? Y'all ain't talking to me. Because she's concerned about getting a mate. She's concerned about entering into the marital contract. And this was an indictment against these Pharisees, because Jesus was subliminally letting them know, you're more concerned about a natural marriage, but let me tell you about my spiritual marriage. My Father is married to the backslider. Lord, help me up in here. And Jesus then moves now to the third part of this trilogy. And here in verse number 11, there's three things I see, and I'll get on out your way for the night. The first thing I see is a rebellious request. Will you tell your neighbor there's a rebellious request in this text? There's some of them don't believe you. Where is it? All right, I'm glad you asked. It's right here, because as Jesus began to tell the third part of this trilogy, he said a certain man had two sons. Somebody shout, two sons. These two sons here, if you'll look with me and I'll help you see it, momentarily represent the law and grace. Jesus, remember, it's an earthly story with a spiritual, a heavenly meaning. Jesus said there was a certain man that had two sons. Can you shout, two sons? Look at the rebellious request in verse number 12. And the younger of them said to his father, give me the portion of goods that falleth unto me. Watch. And he divided unto them his living. Sit down before you make me nervous, please. Oh, Lord, help me here. It was a rebellious request. It was. Now, don't sit down all night, but it was a rebellious request because the boy was literally in this culture of honor and shame. The boy was literally saying to his daddy, I have no more need for you. Lord help me. The boy was literally saying to his daddy, you're no longer of any worth or any profit unto me. So Father, I want you to treat me as if you were dead. Lord help me here. Watch this, because what trips me out, preacher, the father didn't argue with the son. Although the father knew the son was irresponsible, he didn't argue with him. Although the father knew, choir, that this boy had riotousness in his mind and in his spirit, the father because you need to be careful what you ask the Lord for. Because when you get to the place that you think you know better than God what you need for yourself, God just might give it to you to show you you don't know as much as he knows. Y'all, maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm the only one